morning, everybody. What's going on? What is going on? What it do? What it do? What it do, everybody? It is January the 5th. We are 5 days into the new year. I hope everybody had a great, safe New Year's Eve celebration bringing in the new year. Wish that you all have a blessed and prosperous new year and a better year than 2025. I'm looking forward to definitely a better year in 2026 with a lot of things, with my life in general, and of course, with, you know, what I do here, talking to you guys, because I enjoy talking to you guys each and every Monday. I do it, and I also like talking to you guys when I do on social media. I have a couple announcements I'm going to give to you a little bit later on, but first show of 2026. First show of 2026. Can you believe it? 2026, like I said, 5 days in. And we are already at our first show of the year, which is a great thing. I am excited about this time, so it's like starting to flow for me. Basketball season is picking up. Football season is merging into the playoffs. And it's just going to get fun, even more fun from there. Let's see the people there. You know where I am. So I say y'all all the time, but y'all already know. At SportsRap CEO, right now live on TikTok and simultaneously on Instagram. Right. So make sure you pop in. When I see people pop in, when I see people join, you know what I do. I always give you your shout out. So one of the things I want to do in this new year, starting out, and again, like I said, I have to get back to some of the things that got me where I am today. Excuse me for a second. Some of the things that I did. Coach Robert Reeves, my guy, thanks for checking in as always. One of the things I want to do, not one of the things, but some of the things I want to do, I want to get back to quite a bit of the things that I had sprinkled in along the way. And new year, new ideas and things of that nature. So one of the things I want to get back into, and even though I'm usually here by myself now, I'm going to maybe, possibly, think about getting the band back together, or maybe getting a new co-host just to see. It's a thought. It's nothing definite as of yet, but something that I'm going to think about as I progress and move on. Also, I want to begin to give you more of me. And when I say more of me, I usually pick topics that I feel are conducive to what I do and how I look at how my delivery, like you all know, I like to give you the back end, the behind the scenes sides, the sports and the business side, and all of the jazz, all of that. So I want to start getting back into some more of the burning topics. I'm always still going to look and do research and find topics that I find interesting and bring to you, and try and break things down and explain to you as they pertain to the current sports seasons that we would be in. But I'm also going to attempt to bring back that aspect as well, giving you more of me, bringing you the burning topics. Because I know we all watch mainstream media, and I've told you in a couple shows back and in past shows, be careful what you hear and see in the media. Like I said, because it's their job to hype up ratings, bring up ratings, and it's their job to sell papers and magazines and stuff like that. So they're going to give you stuff that they think will have you coming back for more. Like you said, it's just like regular TV. You watch a TV series, there's always a lot of cliffhangers. Some of the TV shows, they have different topics every week. Some of them become mini series and they have a long extended story and they extend it out through several episodes. But they keep you hanging. They add these cliffhangers in. And I'm talking about TV here. They add these cliffhangers in to bring you back, to make you want to see what's going to happen next, right? Then you get antsy about it because you got to wait like a week for it to happen. So that's how they do that. But it's the same thing in sports with the sports media, especially in football seasons. Like I said, football season, you only play once a week. So whatever you see on Sunday and then you hear on Monday and Tuesday, and depends on how Wednesday, Thursday, Friday goes, you got to sit on that for a week, right? But a lot more times than not, they get you either here or there. They get you either on your high and they get you on your low, and you get antsy and you want to get back in and see what else they have to say. Or you want to see if anything changes come the following week. And they hook you in and suck you in and keep you in. Right? Me, on the other hand, I like to stay true to what I do. I like to stay true to the topic that I love, which is sports. And this is why I do what I do. So I'm really genuine in what I do, and I always try to give it to you in terms that you understand. And I always tell you, I always plead. Sometimes I even plead with a lot of you. Just listen to me a little bit. Take your fan hat off and listen to this business side, and then you'll understand how some things happen. When I say like trades and things of that nature, when you listen to me just a little bit, get that business side, you realize, that's why A, B, and C possibly happen. So enough of that. I'm going to talk some Sixers. You see I have my Sixers hat on. If you Instagram, you can see the shirt. Got a little mashup here. Iverson and Maxey, which is a great mashup. People love the shirt. And then I'll tell you later how you can get one. Don't worry. Anyway, we're going to talk some Sixers. We're going to talk some Eagles. Definitely going to talk some Eagles. Get you ready for the NFL playoffs. And we're going to talk a little bit about this new format for the NBA All-Star Game after I talk some Sixers. It's pretty interesting to me. I don't know how it's going to work, but come February, we're going to find out, and we're going to see it, and we're going to see if it works or not, and we're going to see how we like it as fans, and see what the NBA's take on it is. So, I'm also going to cut down on giving you scores every Monday live. So what I did today is I started, since it's the first show of the year, I posted the scores in my intro for Mondays. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be screenshotting and I'll be posting scores for you as I post my flyer for Monday show. But the scores, I can still do Sunday scores. They'll be posted in there with the flyer. And then Monday's games will already be in there as well. What I'll start to do also is on the side of that, if I bring you scores, it's going to be scores from the season that's currently going on. So basically, you'll get some scores from playoffs football, because I'm going to have to talk football. I'm going to talk some playoffs. And then once we get into March Madness, that's going to be somewhat brief until we get into like the Sweet 16, the real money rounds, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final Four, and the finals. And I'll be giving you those scores. And we'll see how the rest of it goes, all right? So, but again, like I say, always, I'm an open book. My door is always open. And my DM, we're down there in the bottom. You can always give me suggestions. Tell me what you like, what I do. Tell me what you want to hear me say. And what you want to hear me talk about, not hear me say. Something what you want to hear me talk about. You can ask me questions. Talk about if you're live. If you're watching the live, you're tuned into the live, you got some question about something that I previously said or something that I'm saying right now, please feel free to chime in and ask away. All right, so we're going to go football first, and I'm going to give you this week 18 scores because it's the final week of the regular season. Like I said, we're moving in to the playoffs now. Malcolm J. Focus. Malcolm on Twitter, on TikTok. Malcolm J. Focus. Girl, hit my DM. You might have to talk. I don't understand what you mean by that, but hit my DM when you get a second. And when I'm done with my live, maybe I'll check it, and I'll check it, and maybe we can talk about something after or off the air or whatever. All right, so again, week 18 has come to a close. NFL regular season is done. We are moving into the playoffs, moving into wild card round. Miss Ross, good afternoon. How are you? Funny that you chime in. I'm going to try to say this as simple as I can, and I'm not 100% sure if it's the actual reason why. I definitely appreciate the support, but I heard. If you get that, shoot me a thumbs up in here in the comment real quick if you understand what I was saying. If that's what part of what you chimed in for. So just let me know. But yeah, and definitely if that was the case, I definitely appreciate it. You reaching out as well. So again, like I said, week 18 is done. Moving into the playoffs, I'm going to give you these week 18 scores. And then I'm going to talk some Eagles, right? And talking about that game yesterday, it's going to be a little struggle. But I know I'll be able to get through it. And hopefully some of the things I'll have to say will help some of you get through it as well. So getting back to the scores, again, week 18, final week of the regular season 2025-2026. Going back to Saturday, Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay holds on 16-14. And Seattle beats San Francisco 13-3. That was a big game. Right? Then we had another game coming up. Some other big games coming up. All right. So Sunday, January 4th, yesterday, final games of the regular season. Playoff implications all up and down the scoreboard. Even some division titles sprinkled in, and plenty of playoff position jostling going on yesterday. All right. So, yesterday's scores. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Coach Rich, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Cleveland takes that 20-18. New Orleans falls to Atlanta 19-17. Green Bay falls to Minnesota 16-3. Dallas gets beat up on by the Giants 34-17. Tennessee falls to Jacksonville. They get stomped on 41-7. Indianapolis falls to Houston 38-30. The Jets get banged by Buffalo 35-8. Detroit edges out Chicago 19-16. The Chargers get beat by the Broncos 19-3. The Raiders beat the Chiefs 14-12. The Rams get by the Cardinals 37-20. Miami falls to New England 38-10. Washington beats Philadelphia 24-17. And then the nightcap, another one of those divisional games I mentioned. Pittsburgh at home hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh holds on 26-24, takes that game. So, we'll also, before I close out, I'll give you, when I talk after this, at the end of this segment, I will give you playoff schedules. They are out, and I'll give you some other stuff. So, some quick news and some updates. This is also, again, end of the regular season. It's Monday. No Monday night football tonight, but it's also chop blocking Monday. Coach firing Monday. So some of the ones that I immediately figured and got alerts so far, and there could possibly be some more coming down the line. The Browns fired Stefanski. They're going to keep their GM, though, which I think is not too bad. I don't know. The GM gets the talent, and the coach has to try and coach the talent up to do the object of the whole concept of winning games. And apparently that was a marriage that didn't work out, but it was like 7 years in, so they're moving on. The Falcons fire Raheem Morris and their GM, Terry Fontenot. The Bengals are keeping their coach, Taylor. The Phils, this is just a sidebar, the Phils have hired Don Mattingly for the bench coach. That was just another added in there that I sprinkled in. And the Raiders fire Pete Carroll. I kind of knew the Raiders would fire Pete Carroll. I never really liked that decision by the Raiders organization. I just felt like Pete Carroll was not the right guy for that particular group of players. And again, I'm not saying he was a bad coach. I'm not saying he can't coach. I'm not saying he's too old. I'm just saying that for this particular group, for that particular roster, I never felt like he was the guy that could really get through to them and make some changes in the right direction. So they're going to be looking for another coach, and he'll probably get another high pick. And also, the Cardinals fired Jonathan Gann. He may go somewhere and become another defensive coordinator, which was his specialty, which landed him that head coaching job in Arizona after being the Eagles' defensive coordinator in that Super Bowl against the Patriots with Dougie P as our coach there. So those are some coaches that are fired so far that we know of. Before I deeply get into this Eagles game and talk some football and some playoffs upcoming, opponents have already been announced for next year. Home and away opponents. Again, I said home and away. They just gave you the opponents. You don't have the dates and the actual times of the games that will come out later. But we do have opponents for Philadelphia Eagles. Home. Of course, we have our three, the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders, the division games, division foes. Also at home, coming up, we have the Panthers, the Rams, Texans, the Colts, the Steelers, and the Seahawks. On the road, of course, we have our division rivals, those three. Again, we go to Arizona for the Cardinals. We go to Chicago for the Bears, Jacksonville, out to San Fran, and down to Tennessee for the Titans. I just hope that the Eagles get some back-to-back home games next season. And, I talked about it several times, and a lot of people didn't even really notice it or pay that much attention to it. Because of the way the season and the way the team was playing, you had other things to focus on. I get it. But they had no back-to-back home games at all this year. And just struck me as kind of odd as them being the defending Super Bowl champions. And they don't have any back-to-back home games. Strike me as weird, strike me as maybe something's going on. Maybe there is some kind of conspiracy against Philly teams and some conspiracy against the Eagles. All right. Just like a lot of people talk about, they downplay Jalen Hurts. They say he's not this, he's not that. He also does have a lot of supporters on that side. But one of the things I talked about before, and one of the things I'm going to say again, is you have to realize that he wins. And I get it. He's not per se the quarterback that's going to stand in the pocket, go through 5-6 reads, then deliver the ball or get out if he needs to. He's probably going to use his legs sooner than the average quarterback because he can and he has that ability. But he shows up in big moments and he wins football games. Okay. A while back when the season started to look a little, when that roller coaster started to rock a little bit and people were talking about him and the offense, and you cannot put all of it on him. He doesn't call his own plays. He has an offensive coordinator that does that. Right? So they started putting that blame on him. But nonetheless, you can't put it all on Hurts. Right? And people have to understand, since he's been a starter, he's had a different offensive coordinator every year. Okay? I just saw a stat earlier today. I wrote it down. I can't. Oh, here it is. I have it right here. He's the first quarterback ever. Are you listening to me, people? The first quarterback ever to clinch playoff berths in league history with four. You see, I'm holding up four fingers. Four different offensive coordinators. So again, we can talk about the offense as bad as the offense was. Up and down. Like I said, that roller coaster was shaking all season long. The Eagles still managed 11 wins. They won the division. First time it was a back-to-back NFC East division winner in a long time. They held on to the number 3 seed. There were ways that they could have gotten the number 2 seed, and we can talk about that in just a short minute. But they're in the playoffs again. And I'll say it like I've been saying it for years now. Even when the offense was good, defense was always in it. Defense always kept us in it. It's just more in the past, a little bit more than now. The offense took advantage of what the defense gave them. This year hasn't been the same thing. Hasn't been as consistent as it has been, or as we have seen. Mighty, what's going on, good brother? So getting into it. Okay, you go into yesterday's game, Eagles Commanders division game. You also have Bears Lions division game. So it comes out the way things played out, the numbers and all this other jazz. And if the Eagles had won and the Bears had lost, the Eagles could jump up to the number 2 seed. Okay. It's already been out before, well, around the same time that scenario was introduced and put out in public, whatever. It was announced that the Eagles will be resting starters. They suited up, but they would be resting, right? See, they had to show, so they were resting. Good decision, bad decision. You can look at it both ways. I'm going to try and give you some interpretation of how it could have went both ways in a good way. I'm also going to see how one way it went bad, but I can also tell you how it could go bad. So we'll go good first, because that's not really what happened to us. If you play your starters, even for a half, you figure the Commanders, you figure you know what the defense is going to do with them. You figure if you play your starters on a very, 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 very bottom of the pack ranked defense, you get a decent scoring lead, and then you put in your backups. And you needed Chicago to lose. As the day started out, things were still in your favor, even when they got to be kind of tight before you relinquished the lead. Detroit was doing you a huge favor. Chicago had to fight back in that game. They fight back and they almost pulled it out. So in essence, both teams lose and nothing changes. Chicago stays at the 2. The Eagles stay at the 3. On the Eagles side, staying at that 3, I guess you could argue that it's okay. 49ers have to fly cross country, come play in the cold. The last time that happened, we know what happened, but we're not going to bank on and go on what happened last time. Different teams, right? But that's our opponent now. You could have been playing the Green Bay Packers, who are banged up right now, who are minus their best defensive player, arguably their best player overall. Playing the superstitious side. If you were number 2 again, the last times you went to the Super Bowl, you were the number 2 seed. I'm just saying. Some people think like that. But again, I feel like the way this season went, I personally felt like that the starters should have played at least a half, to have some kind of momentum going into the playoffs. Although, again, you do have a home game. You are second to the Bulls in home record over the past 10 years or so, or last couple years at 26-8 at home. Again, second, I said, to only the Bills, right? But you took that chance. You rested your starters. You put Tanner McKee late in that game because you had an opportunity a second time. Man, had him doing things that he cannot do. You tried to have him move, and he's not a mobile quarterback. In one instance, you got down to the goal line. You had 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, and you couldn't run the ball and get 1 yard. I'm not saying you had to do a tush push, but there is a such thing that was prior to that called the quarterback sneak. Tank Bigsby was running with force and violence. You couldn't give him the ball to get 1 yard and then go in and score a touchdown. So, again, in my opinion, and I'm going to talk about Kelly Ringo in a minute, but anyway, in my opinion, put this game on the coaching staff. Again, I also understand the decision not to play, or a possible decision why not to play your starters. Give those guys a little bit of break, a little bit of rest, have them come back fresh for the playoffs. I get that thought concept. I understand it. But sometimes, like I've said before, sometimes even as a coach in games, you have to scrap your game plan mid-game. Sometimes as a coach, you have to look at things, and when you have the opportunity to put yourself in a position to play a team that you have a higher percentage of winning against, when all you have to do is play your starters and win, you kind of have to think about that a little bit. I don't think it was thought about enough. Because like I said, the Packers just snuck into the playoffs, but they're absolutely reeling. So right now, you just gave a young Chicago Bears team, a very, very good chance of advancing out of the wild card round, and Caleb Williams' first opportunity in the playoffs. The Chicago Bears' first appearance in a long time. When it could have been the Eagles playing the Packers again at home, and then you could have possibly had a second home game at home. And that's the other thing. You give this young team this kind of momentum. You see what they've done all season. So if they win, they could arguably get a second. Well, they're not arguably, but if they win, they can get a second game at home. Could. Right? That could have been you in that position. And I think the Eagles' chances of having 2 home games in the playoffs are a little bit better right now than them having 1. And I say that because of the way the offense looked all season long, up and down, roller coaster shaky, like I've been saying all day. So when this season comes to an end, when it concludes, I have no issues with currently right now with the defense. The defense is going to be fine, except for we're going to need to find another cornerback. After seeing Keely Ringo yesterday and Jacorian Bennett yesterday, we need another cornerback. I'm good with Quinyon Mobe, but he needs somebody on that other side because these guys are just not it. And it's somewhat sad to say that Adoree Jackson is the lesser of the 3 Eagles, if you will. Right? That one play that arguably cost the Eagles the game. Keely Ringo on that sprint out by James Johnson. 39-year-old James Johnson, too, as well. Keely Ringo, you've been in the league, 3-4 years. This dude has played for half of the league. Where is your football IQ? played a little bit of football myself. I played a little bit. I mean, I wasn't the great. I was better at basketball. But I know I even knew if I'm in that position and there's nothing but green grass between me and that quarterback or whoever that's running the ball, and the commentator even said it probably could have been a loss of yards, I'm going to get the ball. I'm not looking behind me. I'm not running into the end zone. I'm going to get the ball. Because somehow, some way, even if I don't completely make the tackle, if the quarterback does try to throw it, I'm going to have an effect on that throw. But the main concept is there's nothing there but space. Go tackle the ball handler. The person that has the ball, the player that has the ball, that's the object of the game. The person that has the ball has to get tackled. There's no one there. I don't know what your read was. I don't know what you were thinking, but it just basically showed me your IQ is not where it should be. And it's arguably and possibly the reason why you are on special teams. But you're a special team stud. So it still is confusing because special teams, you run down and make tackles. You were in the same damn concept on that play. Very similar. I won't say same, but it was very similar. Go get the ball. That's what you do. Go get the person that's carrying the ball. Tackle them. You could have tackled them for a loss. You could have arguably took them out of field goal range. But you really, really seriously, arguably also on the bad end of that, cost us the game. Let alone the sad offense that was played, the 2 opportunities they had after the fact. But that play there, you arguably cost us the game on that play. I said to some people today, I said, he better be glad it was a home game because I would have been likely, they would have probably had to pull me away from him on the sideline. I would have dared him to get on the team plane or the team bus. Team bus back to the hotel or the team. I dare you to get on there. But it was home, so he probably escaped and got out in his own car. But like I said, if we had to get on a bus, I dare you to get on this bus. I don't understand how you get to that level and you botch a simple football play like that. There's no way. There's no way that should have happened. But then again, now that I'm sitting here talking about it with you guys, saw it with my own 2 eyes, it happened. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. There's no way that should have happened. There's no way at all. So, playoff picture is set. NFL playoff picture is set. All right, AFC. Denver Broncos, young team. They have a young team, young, fiery quarterback. They are the number 1 seed. I know some Denver Broncos fans. I know they're excited. But again, like you said, the NFL postseason and any pro postseason is a different animal. It's your first go round. I get it. Some of y'all fans are going to say, oh, we got Sean Payton. That's right. Y'all got Sean Payton. I understand that. But Sean Payton ain't on the field playing. Right? Sean Payton's not on the field playing. He's calling the plays, telling you what to do. Players still got to go out there and execute it. But best of luck to them. All right? The rest of the AFC playoff seed. Number 5, Texans at the 4 Steelers. Number 6, Bills at the Jaguars at number 3. And then number 7, the Chargers are at the number 2 ranked Patriots. On the NFC side, Seattle Seahawks, amazing season, 13-3 or 14-3. Yeah, 14-3, 17, 14-3. Sam Darnold. Talk about that in a second. 5-4 matchup, Rams, Panthers. 6-3 matchup, 49ers, Eagles, and the 7-2 matchup, Packers, Bears. So some people are probably going to say, yeah, you just tripping and then whatever. Seattle Seahawks back in the mix after a long while as well. Sam Darnold, I don't want to downplay it, but I mean, so far, last couple of years, it has been a reality. And I'm going to just go back as recent as last year. Sam Darnold, starting quarterback for Minnesota Vikings last season. Hell of a season. Carried them. They were one of the best teams last season. Got to the playoffs, he folded like an old lawn chair. So, a lot of people have been talking. A lot of people expect the same thing because you actually, when you think about it, it is the same thing. The record is a little bit more gaudy than the Minnesota record, but he had the same thing. Sam Darnold, a masterpiece of a season, but that's still that always potential. And this is, like I said, what people are looking for. I mean, he's looking for this. They're looking for him to fold like that old lawn chair again. And the potential is there. And a lot of us know it. So, wildcard round begins this Saturday, January 10th. 2 games on the slate. The Rams and the Panthers, 4:20 on Fox. And then you had the Packers and the Bears at 8 p.m. on Amazon. And then Sunday, the 11th, Bills and the Jags at 1 p.m. on CBS and Paramount Plus. 4:30 on Fox. 49ers are here in town in South Philly to play the Eagles. Make sure y'all come out, tailgate. I'll be down there. You know, it's a playoff game, so I might do a little bit of live. I might. But if not, come find me. I'll be around. Either F2 parking lot in the Xfinity Mobile Arena or the D-side by the Expressway. All right? So come find me, but I'll probably do a quick live since it's playoffs down there. So make sure you come find me. And when you come find me, just come say hi, snap a picture, talk to me for a little bit, and we can have a good time before the Eagles beat up on the Niners for the first game in the playoffs. And then Monday, the Texans at the Steelers, 8 p.m. on ABC. So, moving right along, folks, that was some great Eagles talk. Again, if you guys missed anything, again, at SportsRap CEO on Instagram and TikTok. Anybody wants to leave me a comment, you jump in and ask me some questions, let me know. I am seeing some stuff here. I'm seeing all the people to invite. I see some people join. Lauren, Derek, let me see if I can get some of these people that have joined. Yeah. A lot of people are looking in, a lot of people are joining, so I appreciate the support. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, just drop in the comments. Team Ross 4 on Instagram, appreciate you. Lowell Rich, as always, Mighty Boxing Club, my guy Mighty Robinson, thank you also for tuning in as well. So I want to talk some basketball, right? And like I showed y'all, I got on my shirt. You can see the shirt, right? So Maxie Iverson mashup, right? Great shirt. I can tell you how to get one. We'll talk about that a little bit anyway. I thought my Sixers had it, right? So we talked about the Sixers up and down. I even had a little moment a few shows back when I talked about Nick Nurse's rotations and how they were driving me crazy. Sixers go on a 5-game road trip. They end up 3-2 on this road trip. All right. On this road trip, they've beaten the Knicks, they beat the Grizzlies, and they beat the Mavericks. They should have beaten the Bulls. They had the Thunder sprinkled in there, but they should have beaten the Bulls. So they should have been 4-1 on this road trip. Nonetheless, I'll take 3-2. Okay. The last couple games have been really good games. Last couple games, it appears that one Joel Embiid is beginning to get some legs under him. It's looking like Paul George has finally been assured of a role, and he knows that now. He's starting to accept that role. So, when you think about what I just said, and if you watch the thing, you think about how they ran their most recent game Saturday against the Knicks, where they just brutally beat the Knicks up. I don't mean like outrageous fouls or anything like that. They just got completely physical with the Knicks, and they beat them down the stretch. I said this to some people, and I think I mentioned it last week when I talked on the show. I said that I this is no disrespect to Jalen Brunson, and I said it to somebody earlier today at work. Hell of a talent. Like I said, there's no disrespect. Hell of a talent. He is one of those guys that when your favorite team plays him, if he's not on your favorite team, you do think about it a lot. You think about how or if you can contain him, or how you can limit him as far as scoring and the damage that he can do on the offensive end. But I also noticed that he looks for a lot of fouls on the offensive end. And he doesn't play a lot of defense, if you will. Doesn't play, doesn't play a lot of defense. And from what I've seen. So, again, the Sixers beat up on them. Like I said, Paul George, last couple games, looks like he's been getting his legs under him. Looks like he's understanding now and has a defined role, and he's accepting it and filling into that role. Joel Embiid looks like he's getting his legs under him. So I want to say, again, shout out to Dr. Jonathan Glashow. All right, that's the doctor that worked on Joel's knee, who also did the but the minor arthroscopic surgery on Paul George's knee. And both of these guys seem like now they're beginning to pick up. I'm going to give you Joel Embiid's averages over the last 7 games in a second. But there was a stat that I saw on social media. And over the past couple years, and since we're talking about his injuries and all, over the past couple years, and you know he's played on injuries. Over the past couple years, Joel Embiid has averaged somewhere around 28 and 8 against every center in the league. Just average. Some of those, like I said, some of those games he was a little banged up. Some of those games he was a lot banged up. He averaged 30 on the Knicks 2 years ago on one leg. And they were the better team and they beat us. So we played the Knicks twice this year. First time Joel Embiid did not play and we beat them. Maxey went crazy. This weekend we played them again. We beat them the second time. And both times we played them in the Garden. I don't think the first game was, I think we played them both times in the Garden. So yesterday, or Saturday, over the weekend, I think it was Saturday. Anyway, that game, and like I mentioned when I opened up the segment, the Sixers beat up the Knicks. Again, I'll talk about this a lot. Karl-Anthony Towns really, really does not want to play center, even though he is the center. Does not really want to play bang-up basketball with Joel Embiid. Mitchell Robinson just doesn't have the skill set to stay with Joel Embiid. After those two guys, it's pretty much limited for what the Knicks have. Nothing else after that as far as bigs. So they rely on their wings and their point guard, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and then their bench, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, the new little short guard, the Caucasian guard. I can't remember his name right now, but him more recently coming in. But again, I feel like they just don't have enough for that deep run that everybody over the past couple of years think that they should make. There's a change of head coaching for them this year. And again, it still feels like the same thing. I feel like they haven't really made much improvements. But getting back to my Sixers, hell of a draft pick in number 3 with VJ Edgecombe. Said to some people the past couple of days, and I was reminded some people today. Talk about VJ Edgecombe, and they were going back and forth with that talk. VJ or Ace Bailey. A lot of people say, "Oh, we got to take Ace. We got to take Ace." And then Ace got that crazy agent, or those people behind him that cost him millions, had him drop down to 11. in the draft, and the Sixers took VJ. And oh, what a surprise, what a surprise. Perfect for this city. Most recently, he's been getting Jimmy Butler comparisons. I don't like comparing players this early in their careers, and I try to stay away from comparing them in general. But right now, I'm just riding what he's doing so far. 30-plus games in my opinion, leader for Rookie of the Year. And it's not too bad that the Sixers are in the middle of the pack right now, too. So you talk about this great tandem that everybody has been put on notice, and everybody in the NBA and around the world has now seen. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, Sixers guards of the future. On notice. Put people on notice. Okay, like I said, now you got Joel Embiid coming back, looking like he's getting healthy, getting his legs under him. And we know what he can do when he's healthy. And you throw in Paul George, who also looks like he's beginning to get healthy, beginning to fill in and realize and understand and take heed to his role. Injured players that will make an impact on this team when they come back and are healthy. Kelly Oubre, Trendon Watford. I cannot forget about Dominic Barlow. Again, Sixers were not great at rebounding last year. They've gotten a little bit better, and Dominic Barlow is a big reason behind that. Jabari Walker. Blue-collar guys come in and play their role. You don't have to run any plays for them, but they make the right basketball plays. They cut when they're supposed to cut. They play D. They rebound. They get down in dirt. Jared McCain, still finding his way. But we saw he was arguably the Rookie of the Year last year. So, think about it. Sixers 2 years in a row, arguably could have had Rookie of the Year back-to-back years. Quentin Grimes. And I know I talk about Quentin. Sometimes he's a little erratic. But when he's settled in, he's a scorer for us. He can get buckets for us. The other thing I like about this team right now, don't forget Adam Bona has socially improved his game. Not a lot, but improved his game. And my guy Drum, arguably the best backup to Joel Embiid his entire career. Hell of a rebounder, one of the best rebounders in the history of the league. Okay? But when you look at the other things around this team, the camaraderie, this team is together. When you go back and look at some clips and some highlights of that Knicks game, there are moments when that whole team was standing up together. And when guys made plays, it was a full-out celebration. These guys are together. And once again, once they get Kelly Oubre, Trendon Watford back and come completely healthy, and then if they can sprinkle in the recently two-way contract signed Marshawn Beauchamp, who I think is a good wing. Will be another good win for them. He's got some size. He plays both ends of the floor. But when you think about the grand scheme of things and you look at the way the East is set up right now, the East is wide open. There are people beginning to look now, some former players, some other media members, who are now starting to recognize and are beginning to chatter a little bit. It's a little soft chatter right now, but they're beginning to chatter a little bit, believing that the Sixers could be scary and could make a run to possibly come out of the East. I said it when the team got put together, and I kept saying the healthy thing. That's been our MO for the past several years. If we healthy. Sound like improvement. But like I said, it looks like players are getting healthy. Big game tonight. Unfortunately, Joker's not playing, but still, big game tonight. A team that just recently won an NBA championship. Are really good out west. Not I say recently, I mean a couple years ago, but recently. Also are, like I said, a strong team in the Western Conference. So it's going to be a good game, good test for the Sixers to keep this going, coming back home off this road trip. I think without Joker, the Sixers can get a win, although they have beaten them with Joel and the Joker playing as well. But I think without the Joker, I think the Sixers can beat them, especially, like I said, with the momentum that they have, with the things that I've seen over this past road trip. Um, it's looking like a team that could become very scary. They could become a team that a lot of people may not want to play down the stretch or coming in the playoffs. Teams may not want to play them. So we'll see. Again, it's a lot of basketball left to play. But again, I think they are beginning to come together and beginning to peak at the right time, at the right moment. Lastly, the NBA starting is also once again introducing another All-Star game format. All right, so it's going to be U.S. versus international players, of course, which they decided to do now since the international players have caught up and some have surpassed some of our American players. All right, so it's going to be set up in 4 12-minute quarters. So it's actually going to be one full game. It's just going to be broken down into 4 quarters. So each quarter is going to be a game. All right, each team is going to play each other one time in this little round robin mini tourney. The top 2 teams will advance to the championship. So the way it's going to go in game 1 in the first 12 minutes, so basically the first quarter, Team A is going to play Team B. All right, in game 2, the winner of game 1 will play Team C. And then in game 3, the loser of game 1 will play Team C. And then the top 2 teams, the teams with the best record for all 3 games, will play for the championship. It's also going to be an earlier time for the All-Star game on Sunday. It's not going to be the 8 o'clock slot. It's going to be like a 5:40 time slot or something. Got it right there. Wrote it down. So, but also they're going to be the teams are going to have, I think, 8 players on the team. And there's not going to be any positioners. There's just going to be some fans again are going to pick starters, and then coaches are going to pick reserves, and then they'll divide these guys. So it's going to be 3 teams, right? Did I say 3 teams? How many teams is it? Team A, Team B. Yeah, 3 teams. So it's going to be 2 teams of American players and 1 team of international. How that happened, I don't know, but I guess because it's that naturally more American players than it is international players, but we'll see. Other than that, lastly, NCAA. All right, we heard the scandal. Not so much the scandal, but we all heard about NCAA granting the one young man eligibility after he was drafted, did not sign an NBA contract, but when he played overseas and is going back to school. It's a lot of controversy behind that. I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't think it's unfair because I think if those players go and play ball, G League overseas or whatever, I think they have a slight advantage. They have an advantage over the young kids that are in college trying to somewhat still learn the game and trying to grow their game so they can make it to the next level. And it's an unfair advantage to them because these guys have had pro experience and it would show in that. So with that story, I'm going to do some more digging, some more research so I can be completely clear in some of the things I say to you about that story. So just bear with me on that, but just know that I will bring that back. I will revisit that once again. And I almost forgot. This is why I said this. Hey, peace and love, Join. Thank you for tuning in. I almost forgot about this. When I talked about the Sixers, I talked about Joel Embiid and how I felt like he was getting his legs up under him and things of that nature, right? So over his last 7 games, these are his averages. You tell me, does it sound like he's getting a little healthy? 28.7 points, 8.3 rebounds, 4 assists, which is actually pretty good for him. That means, like I kept saying over the past couple of years, he's still getting better at passing, but 4 assists is pretty good for him. All right, 1 block, 1.1 block game, and 33 minutes a game. Now, here's the big thing. And this is showing me that I haven't been noticing completely that now when I see this number makes me feel like he's been taking more higher percentage shots that I didn't notice at the time. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you. So the last stat, field goal percentage, 49.3. And even earlier this season, a lot of people said he was washed. There were people that were calling for him to be traded. But I just gave you numbers over 7 games. 7 games, I just gave you numbers, right? If you don't believe in these numbers, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. 28.7 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. 33 minutes a game, 49 points. That's almost 50% shoot. Tell me, what does that sound like to you? Again, another great Monday in the books. Sixers back in action tonight again. Like I said, against the Nuggets here in South Philly. So make sure you tune in that game. I think it's an 8 or 8:30 game. NBC Sports, and I'm not sure what other main media it's on, whatever. But I know it's on NBC Sports. So, some things I wanted to talk to you guys about before I close out. Like I said, I had some things I wanted to mention to you. Again, it's a new year, 2026. I'm looking for bigger and better things. And I want to get back to some things, like I said, that helped me get to where I am now. And I'm not going to say I got complacent. I'll say is I got caught up in just doing the work and not fully paying attention to the work. So I definitely want to get back to that. So I'm just changing the month because I thought about it now and it's the first Monday, so I couldn't just spring it on you as I went live. But what I'm going to do, and I started this, I'm going to do the third Monday of every month. Right? Third Monday of every month is going to be my open mic day, if you will. Open mic Monday. So what I'll do is in my flyer, in my announcements for that over that weekend leading into that Monday, I will post some things that I might want to talk about, but then I'll also reach out to all my peoples. And what I'll do for that particular show, that entire Monday, will be dedicated to you all, where you can get on my live, or prior to that, you can hit my DM. You can ask me questions, give me topics that you would like to hear me discuss. Again, like I said, you can ask me questions, you can give me topics. Tell me to bring back some things that you've heard me say and ask me about that. Anything that you want. Like I said, you want to ask me a question, you want to talk about a topic, you want to bring up something that I said prior to that particular day, something that I posted. It will be all about you guys on that particular day. Again, that's going to be the third Monday of every month. And it's actually great that I'm going to start that, and I'm starting it. I'm going to start next month for the third Monday of this month as a holiday. I'm probably not going to do a show. So starting next month, February, the third Monday of the month is all about you guys. My DM will be open even prior to that. Like I said, questions, comments, concerns, topics, questions, whatever you want to ask, whatever you feel the need you want to see me discuss or you want to discuss with me, we will do that on that third Monday. Right. Also, if you're a DJ, an artist, DJ, you can get your mixes. DJ, artist, you can get your songs played on Heat 100 Radio. All right. If you do not know already, it is an internet radio station. So we are worldwide. We have reached worldwide. All right. If you are a DJ, an artist, and you want to get your music played, right? You want to branch out even more. And I know you got YouTube, whatever, but we can get you on also. All right. Hit my DM. I can get you all the details. When you hit my DM about that, the DJs or artists, comment music, and then I'll know to get with you, and I can break down and give you all the details on what our spend packages are and how you can get information and music to me and other people here at Heat 100 Radio. And again, MP3 versions and clean versions only. Okay. Also, if you are Black business owned, small business, trainer, athletic business, sports nigger, sports figure, sports athletic organization, all right, or just any other business, and you want to get into the mix, you're thinking about getting a podcast, you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel to create some content, right? You can have your moment, you can advertise with us, and then we also have that kind of tool. We can teach you up and bring you along as part of the family and get you set up in that facet, all right? Serious inquiries only there too as well. Again, hit my DM for this particular topic. When you comment on this, just comment business, so I'll know what your angle is, all right? And again, you know where to find me, right? At SportsRap CEO on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. I'm sorry, and I'm not even be on Twitter anymore, but Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at SportsRap CEO. You can check out the YouTube page, SportsRap TV, the channel SportsRap TV over there, right? And make sure you hit me up. And make sure you are tuned in to heat100radio.airtime.pro. 24-hour music. You can get blended in. You can hear replays of former past shows of myself, past shows of Simply Monica, and you can just hear some great music. And this is how I said, DJs, artists, you can get your music played on air as well. I know TikTok, Instagram. I know people are seeing over my shoulder. There's a t-shirt up there. I'm going to flip this Instagram camera so you can see that there, bang. And you can also see it on the TikTok camera, right? Custom made Eagle shirts. You're getting into the playoffs, right? Custom Tyrese Maxey, Allen Iverson mashup. Still got basketball season. And also, aside from that, you know I have one, and I'm going to be getting into one because it's a new year. Anyway, Twitch, your game streaming intros, right? YouTube intros. I have a guy, have a connect. I can get you an animated intro for your Twitch, for your game streaming, for your YouTube, all right, for your podcast, animated, top work. Make sure you hit my DM for that. In that, hit intro, and I'll give you all the information. But if you want a sneak peek, get over to Instagram at Created Designs is the page. That's who you need to check into. And when you check in there, you hit his DM, let him know what you want. Make sure you tell him SportsRap CEO sent you. All right. Again, at Created Designs on Instagram. You can get your intro, animated intro, custom made, tailored to you. If you want one, just stay tuned for mine. All right. When you get on that page, you'll see the work that's done. But wait tuned. Stay tuned for mine. Again, like I say, folks, all the time. Great Monday, another great show in the books. Be great on purpose. Kids are back in school, so they should be either home or on their way home if they have the school programs. Make sure you guys get home safe. Make sure you guys are paying attention on your way home. Again, talk to y'all next week, right here live, and all week on social media traffic. You know what it is. You know the handles. I'm going to give them to y'all one more time. Instagram, TikTok, Threads, at SportsRap CEO. YouTube, SportsRap TV. I forgot my Patreon. Patreon.com/Heat100/SportsRap podcast. I'm sorry. Patreon.com/SportsRap podcast. And also, audio, Heat100Radio.airtime.pro. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.